Welcome to the Smores Indoors Podcast. What's up, everybody? My name is Corey, here with Jonathan as always. What's up?
What's going on, man?
Oh my gosh, not a lot. Been kind of a crazy week. Went out and bought some stuff today. Had a good time, I guess, as much as you can. Picked out some Dollar Trees and some other places, and kind of show some stuff I've got here. And for those listening later on the audio version, you won't see this stuff, but I'll say what it is too. So,
yeah, Dollar Tree is supposed to have had a big run on horror movies this month.
Yeah, and I sure as hell had a hard time finding any. I've got a couple things here, and I'll show, but yeah, it's they're getting wiped out pretty quick. It looks like so. What's been going on this week? Have you picked up anything or watched anything that was interesting?
Man, I've been killing it on Tales from the Crypt, and I took a break from that. We were talking about that earlier. Watched some King of the Hill just to kind of mellow out. I've been like on a serious horror rampage for like the past 6 months. I kind of needed a break. I forgot there was like other forms of entertainment, so that was nice. The only two pickups I had, and sorry if you can't see this because you're listening to the audio version. I thought I had ordered these Vestron movies that came out last week, but I didn't.
Right.
Which is a good thing because they went on sale for like $10 each. I got Little Monsters and David Cronenberg's Shivers.
That's a hell of a deal for those. About $10 each if you guys don't have them. And from what I hear, the Shivers is really good. I haven't heard anything about Little Monsters yet, but
did you watch Little Monsters back in the day?
Yeah, I did. I do not remember a whole lot about it, but
you would have been about target age, wouldn't you?
Yeah, probably. I mean, that was
89.
I guess I'm assuming I'm probably roughly Fred Savage's age, so not sure exactly, but yeah, I remember watching. What was that show he was on? What the
Wonder
hell?
Years.
Wonder Years, yeah. God. I was starting to go, Life Goes On. I was like, no, that's Corky.
Yeah, actually, did you see where Ben Savage was spotted in Evansville this weekend?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Could not figure out. I do not know what Ben Savage is doing around Evansville, but
who knows? I know Dennis Quaid was there last year, so
yeah, they ever come out why he was in Evansville?
Yeah, he's dating a girl that went to the University of Evansville, so like a young girl. So,
oh, okay.
So yeah,
well, he is Dennis Quaid,
or her family's from Evansville, something like that. So
yeah. Much cooler, but she is really young.
Yes.
Way cooler if it was Randy Quaid, by the way.
Yeah, well, there'd have been some stuff stolen if he was in. Oh, anyway. So yeah, I hit up the Dollar Trees, hit up a couple other places. I'll kind of go through this stuff that I picked up. So I got a few DVDs, and I showed you some of these kind of through Facebook earlier, but I'll show them on the show here. Maybe show some of the stuff that's out there. Second season of Mad About You. I know that's kind of
so random.
Doesn't fit in with our typical stuff, but whatever.
Okay. I got the third season of Wings there one time, so
I love that show too. This was talked about, I think, on Lauren's show the other day. Stage Fright. Did you see this?
I got the Blu-ray of it like 2 waves ago, but I haven't watched it because that's what we do. I buy them, don't watch them, and put them on the shelf.
I looked at it this way. I saw a lot of horror that was like the typical generic stuff, you know. And this one I at least heard of, so I went and grabbed it. I definitely heard of this. Big Bad Wolves. I've never seen it, though.
I'll pick that one up, too.
Heard good things about that, for sure. Another one I've always heard good things about, just never got around to watching, was Final Girls.
I love that movie. Yeah, it's so good, man.
So, had to grab that. I had the first 2 seasons of this. This is like the special for the British Office.
Yeah.
So I just grabbed that. And that last DVD we were just talking about was Troll Hunter. So I got that. I did open it because it was floating around in there, so I had to do that. So, I have a few Blu-rays I picked up. I always pick up shit like this. I got the Steelers and the Saints Super Bowl Blu-rays.
Those are like expensive when they come out too.
I just kind of throw those on sometime and watch that stuff. This one I had the DVD of. I haven't. I never watched it, but it's a PBS documentary about Norman Lear. He was producer for like All in the Family and the Jeffersons and stuff like that back in the day. So, and I did find one of those horror titles, Return of the Living Dead. I went ahead and grabbed it, even though I've got a bootleg version of the Scream Factory.
Would you do me a huge favor?
Yeah.
Is that opened?
No, but I can open it.
There's supposed to be a coloring book in there.
There might be. And
I want to see what that's all about. Evidently, that was a thing they did with those titles that came out with the faceplates. That is cool.
So,
create your own cover.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, the artwork on that release is really good too.
Yeah. So, for $1.
Did you have that already?
I have that bootleg Scream Factory version. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I guess I technically have a legit version now. So. I picked this up. It's a double feature of 2 spaghetti westerns, The Last Gun and $4 of Revenge. I don't know anything about them. It's a milk.
They wanted to be more specific than just a fistful of dollars. It's exactly $4.
And then these last 2 were pretty cool. Got the Road Warrior.
Oh.
And actually one I actually didn't have this in the collection. The Conjuring.
So good buy. That's for $1?
Yep.
Come on.
Some more stuff. Another Gremlins to flip from Dollar General. So if you find these out and you already have it, flip them. I got $18 out of the last one, so hopefully I'll get the same on that one. $5 at Walmart tonight. I went ahead and grabbed upgraded Caddyshack.
Hey, that has the Untold Story of Caddyshack on it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hell, I like that just about as much as the movie.
Yeah. So I'll have to check that out. I don't think I ever have. Went to Family Video too.
Uh-oh.
I had talked about this one in the past, and I went ahead and grabbed it. The Way Back with Ben Affleck. The
Actually want to see that.
Kind of interested in watching it. Sounds decent. And I know a lot of people hate this, but I needed another one to get 2 for $8. So, from the director of the Babadook, I got The Nightingale. So,
must be 18 to rent.
Yeah, I think she's raped like 54 times in that movie. So.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, it's a family classic. So.
Yeah, you put that on right after the Cosby Show.
So, also hit up a pawn shop, and I picked this up. I already ordered something to take to the Mick Foley thing, but this was $3, so I grabbed this For All Mankind. I'll have him sign that.
Have a nice day.
Yeah. And then this, it's a double feature midnight movie DVD. It's $2 of Strange Invaders and the Toby Hooper Invaders from Mars. So grabbed it. Why not? Then this one, I was going to say I may regret it, but I was at Walmart, and after putting this in, the transfer is amazing. So I don't regret paying what I paid, but I'm sure it's going to go down at some point. I'm going to grab the Beavis 4K.
I heard it's gorgeous.
One of the best looking 4Ks I got that I've watched. So,
what is that going for?
I paid $25, so maybe I could maybe I can make some money off the code or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's always a good way to get your money back on that.
And for my little display case back there, I had to grab another figure, and
Hey, where'd you get that at?
I got that at Walmart too. It's $30.
It is a good looking figure, though.
Yeah. So I'm gonna make one shelf like my favorite slashers and something like that. Then I guess my last two biggest purchases of the day. Bought some vinyl, and both of these actually I paid less for than they were going for online, so didn't feel too bad on spending like $80. But, so I got the Mondo Jaws.
Ooh. And where was this picked up at?
These were FYE in Paducah. So pretty cool. And this one goes for quite a bit. It looked like online. The Waxwork Records Devil's Rejects.
That cover is badass.
Yeah. So, and the vinyl is it's like a clear, bloody. It's kind of cool.
That's a good album to have. The music in that movie was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got it all on there. Both of those are 2 LP releases. I'll put that in there later. Yeah, that was my huge haul for the day.
Well, let's say you had a pretty good day then.
Yeah. Looks like a lot more than it really was because half that was Dollar Tree $1 titles.
God, Dollar Tree just gets me every single time.
They do. They do. Sure. So, what else has been going on? Is there anything news-wise we should cover before we get into the topic at hand, which is Jesse Ventura's favorite topic, conspiracies?
I was watching Jesse Ventura stuff before I got on. I actually like that guy. The more I watch of him, I like him.
Yeah, I do too. I always have. He's entertaining, if nothing else.
He is.
So, but I guess we can jump right into it because I've got several written down, and I don't know if you have any more you want to bring up when we get to them. But, I guess we'll start out with the conspiracy on why AIDS was fake.
Yes, we were told that recently.
Yes, on a recent live stream.
We had an expert on.
I had no clue. I honestly
didn't either. This whole time, it turns out Magic Johnson was doing it for sympathy. He was just tired of playing basketball.
But honestly, there's probably conspiracies about almost every topic you can think of. And the one thing I love about conspiracies and conspiracy theorists and all of that is just the entertainment factor on most of it,
Oh, yeah.
And some of that stuff is fun to think about and fun to dive into. But we'll start off with a big one. And this was one that you had me put on the list. Area 51 and Roswell, we'll kind of combine them there. I think the biggest, is the biggest kind of evidence towards that, you think the Bob Lazar story?
Oh, for sure. Like, that's actually what, I'm not saying that, like, aliens are real or whatever. I'm just saying, in my opinion, like, you go back and you listen to Bob Lazar, which my dad talked about Bob Lazar when I was a kid, and, like, how weird that story was, and then I didn't think anything of it until that documentary came out, Area 51 and Bob Lazar, and he was on Joe Rogan's podcast last year. And I just sat there watching it going, this guy legitimately has no reason to say these things.
Right.
And there's proof that the government has tried to defame him and kind of wash him from the records of him ever having worked there. There's actually proof now that he did work for one of these sites, and I can't think of the name of it. And the technology that he's been speaking of for 35 years was recently proven to be true as well. They had the bone scanners, the hand bone scanners, at these facilities, and everybody was saying that he was a quack. So, I mean, I'm not saying that means that aliens crash landed on Earth or anything.
Right.
But what I do know is he worked, I believe personally that he did work on something extremely strange and very top secret. And that if he had not come out, you wouldn't have heard of Bob Lazar. You'd have heard of Bob Lazar's obituary.
Right. Well, one thing that I found was interesting, and the Bob Lazar story was, we've talked about between Art Bell, and the Bob Lazar story was huge on Art Bell years ago. But I think what came out in that documentary that was interesting was, I think one of the places you were talking about was Los Alamos.
Los Alamos, yes.
Yeah. Well, they said, oh, he never worked there. Well, someone found an old phone book with his number in it from there.
That's weird if Bob Lazar never worked there.
Yes.
Why is his comment?
And he had this hobby of making like a rocket car.
Yep.
Someone did a news article from the newspaper about him and talked about him working at Los Alamos. So,
look, man, that's the most compelling evidence, I think, to date of any kind of extraterrestrial life.
Yeah.
The thing I like about him is he does not speculate on anything. He tells you exactly what he knows, and he acknowledges that he doesn't know the entire story. He just knows what he worked on seemed to be some sort of like anti-gravitational field. They couldn't get it open, and he thinks they pull it out every so many years and bring a new team of people in to come look at it.
Yeah.
And then they put it up for a while. Which is something I feel like that's how the government would do it. They'd compartmentalize everything. He worked on propulsion, and that's it. And if they couldn't figure it out, they'd put it up for a while, bring it back out later, see if anybody else has any ideas.
Right. Yeah. And to me, like alien life is one of those, not necessarily a conspiracy, but the thought of, do aliens exist, is one of the most plausible things in my opinion. Whether or not they've been here or not, I mean, it's such a huge universe out there that there's got to be something.
That's the question. I mean, I think at this day and age, like any rational human being is going to say, of course there's life somewhere. Like, right. It's too big for it not to have happened. The question is can technology go so far as to take you across the galaxy?
Yeah, that's obviously our technology can't, but
right.
There is technology out there that can. So,
yeah. And Bob Lazar made a good point on that. He said, we think of everything in the way kind of we came up, the steam engine and propulsion. That's probably not where everybody started, right? Like, right. They might think that's amazing that we blow stuff out the back and that pushes us forward.
Right.
So, but yeah, I believe that guy. Do you?
I do. I mean, he's very believable.
So did you watch the documentary?
I did.
So evidently the government just screws with him a couple times a year.
Yeah.
It's on video. They come in and just raid his business.
Yep. So
just because.
It's sad for him, but and the other thing that I kind of think about him is, what's his gain to tell this story? It's costing him more than it is helping him.
And he seems so I really don't want to talk about it, but I have to keep my name in the public eye so they won't kill me. Right. Like, it's that kind of thing. You can tell he does not want to entertain this crap. He doesn't want the UFO community coming to him with stuff. He's just like, look, this is what I know. This is it. This is out there so they won't kill me.
Yeah, it's a compelling story. If you guys haven't watched that documentary, I'm not sure. Do you know the name of it offhand?
It's Bob Lazar. I don't care for the guy who made the documentary, by the way.
Yeah, I don't either.
He's just like way. He is one of those people who's like Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers.
Okay. That's the name. If you guys haven't seen that, check that out because it's very, very good.
The guy who made it's one of those people who's very he'll take anything and spin it towards aliens existing.
Sure. sure. So, yeah, but Bob Lazar's not in that way. He's just,
and that's what makes it so believable. It's like, oh, and like this is like the most important part of the story is the element that supposedly powers these crafts. He was told about and was talking about like 35 years ago was just recently like added to the periodic table.
Right. Yeah.
So how did he guess an element?
Right. That's something I forgot, but yeah, that was another thing that was crazy to hear him say. So, so I have certain things in a certain order on my list here, but to kind of keep things in a similar vein, I'm gonna jump around a little bit. What's your thoughts on the moon landing?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't have a good opinion on it. There's all kinds of reasons to stage it, right?
Yeah, right.
Just looking at like how fast it happened. I mean, it's entirely plausible that we went to the moon. Because I'm not a scientist. I'm not a very well educated man, but it seems plausible. But it was the manner in which it happened, like how quickly it happened. It's like, all right, we put a man into space, and like 8 years later, all right, we're on the moon, people. And then like we just quit going, and we never reached out any farther. Like those are the questions I have. Like, I think it could have been staged for political reasons, and that would make a lot of sense.
Right.
But it's also plausible that we just wasted billions of dollars to stand on the moon. So.
Yeah, I would like to think we did, because people did lose their lives trying to make that happen.
Yeah.
And they continue to lose their lives. You know, we've lost 2 space shuttle crews, not going to the moon, but just for their work in space, I guess you could say, however you want to word that. But I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that we've never gone back since that era. So
yeah, it's just the weirdest thing. And like, why wouldn't we try to venture further out?
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't say for sure on that. But it doesn't help their case that like some of the official released photos from the moon are doctored. Like they are shot on a soundstage.
Yeah.
Merely for the reasons to have a good picture, basically, to put in the paper. And that's been acknowledged. So that doesn't really help their case that some of their stuff is faked.
I also feel like one thing that sorry about that.
Okay.
One thing that kind of hurts the cause of it being real was how defensive Buzz Aldrin always was.
Oh yeah.
You know, if he knew he had been, and someone said, "Was it fake?" Don't you think he would just kind of laugh it off?
Yeah, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, it was real fake." Like,
right.
What'd you say, you son of a bitch? You damn commie!
Like always swinging on people.
Come here. There's more conspiracy theories that go with the moon than just that, though. There's also the conspiracy theory that said we went, but we were told not to come back.
Interesting.
Or we went and it was hollow. Or like, have you heard any of these?
I've heard all kinds of stuff, about it.
Yeah.
Hell, if we didn't go, it was shot by Stanley Kubrick, and so
yeah. That's why Buzz Aldrin's the way he is. You saw that.
That is a great movie. Have you ever seen Moonwalkers with Ron Perlman?
No.
I love that movie. That's great.
About to say, I mean, if Stanley Kubrick shot it, that would explain Buzz Aldrin. I mean, think about Shelley Duvall. What happened to her?
Yeah. Oh gosh. So another thing that would probably make Buzz Aldrin's blood boil would be the flat earthers.
Yeah, I don't get that one. That's like we have we have proof. Like this sucker's a circle. It's a sphere. Like there's no good reason to lie about it. Like what is the most conspiracies you can be like, yeah, okay, they lied about this because nobody benefits from the Earth being flat, and we're being told it's round.
Right. Yeah. You know what? It's funny. You were talking about Joe Rogan earlier. When Eddie Bravo gets on the flat Earth thing, it makes my head explode.
I know, because Eddie Bravo's like a smart dude.
Yeah.
But like Eddie's gone over to Alex Jones territory.
Yeah.
Where it's just like question everything.
Yeah, the flat Earth thing I cannot get behind. I feel that's less questionable in my mind than almost any other conspiracy theory.
Yeah, because there's nothing behind it. There's no substance.
No, it's I don't know. I feel like if you've been in an airplane at any point of your life, you can kind of see that curvature. So,
the boat going over the horizon on the sea, like there's all kinds of things you can just go. That is why it's like the Earth isn't flat.
Right.
You can look right there. Watch the sailboat disappear.
Yeah. So, going along with airplanes, sometimes these conspiracy theories just kind of vanish, kind of like boats and planes did in the Bermuda Triangle. So, what the hell happened with the Bermuda Triangle? Why is no one talk about that anymore?
Real world got way scarier than the Bermuda Triangle was.
I guess.
like back in the day, like when I was growing up, you had two conspiracy theories. You had the moon landing and the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
That was it. And then like I remember like being a kid and like Discovery and TLC would run like mysteries, the Bermuda Triangle, tonight at 7. And like it would be so creepy because you're like, man, like I gotta avoid that. Like make a mental note of where that is because I don't need to be.
I used to be terrified of the Bermuda Triangle, and I think there were Unsolved Mysteries episodes about it too.
You know there was, man. Like I can't remember them, but like I can see Robert Stack just tonight's latest unsolved mysteries, the Bermuda Triangle.
I guess people just started going around it. I don't know.
Yeah, like that's what I always wondered. I remember like asking my dad that, like, why do people go in it then? Right? Because to me it was like step in, dead. Like that it was just
what it felt like.
And then you'd see like those shows where they go in it, and I'm like, why aren't they dead? Why am I seeing this? Like,
I think David Copperfield rode through the Bermuda Triangle. I made it.
I did it. We took the power away from it, man. That's what it was. Everybody was scared of it. We took it away.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird. Like,
there was weird shit that happened there, though. Like, you know, like compasses didn't work. But, like, there's a magnetic field explanation for that, I feel like. Like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like science, like, if not, it'd be a much bigger deal than it is. Like, if that just happened and nobody could go, well, this is why that would be a huge thing.
Yeah. Bermuda Triangle was killed by GPS.
Yeah, just take a left here. Don't go through there.
Oh my gosh. I guess another big one. Again, planes. 9/11.
That's a touchy one, right?
Yeah. What's your
show me the planes, Corey?
I don't want to go to Flight 93 yet because we'll get to that, but just
what about Tower 7?
Well, that's the big question, right? I mean, obviously we saw the planes hit the two buildings, but yeah, the Tower 7 is interesting because
it was never touched, and like it just. And I remember it being like an afterthought too. I remember I was very young when 9/11 happened. I was 11, so I couldn't really wrap my head around what's going on. I was just scared. Like I think like everybody was. But I remember that night watching TV, I guess like 5 o'clock or so, and like they just kind of like, oh yeah, Tower 7 collapsed too.
Yeah.
No, like and then they just nobody talked about that for the longest time. And then there's instances of it being reported before it collapsed. It's very strange, and that seems to be the biggest thing with the towers that nobody can really explain.
Right. There was a story too. I don't know if you heard this, but there was a report that one of the hijackers' like passport was found out in the street. Did you hear something like that?
I had not heard that.
Which was interesting. But
there's legitimate conspiracies around it. In fact, I was watching our good friend Jesse Ventura before I hopped on here to hear him talk about 9/11, and he does make good points. Like there is a lot of intelligence that's public information now that leading up to those events that basically said this was going to happen.
I almost I chalk that up to like incompetence though. With
right, like that's what you have to ask. Is it like did somebody not take the threat seriously?
Right.
Which is totally plausible because it almost happened in 90. Like I think Bin Laden had staged an attack on the Trade Centers in 90 and it just didn't really go anywhere.
Right.
Or was it like I don't think you can predict two planes hitting a tower and it doing what it did. Like I don't
know.
Like there's no way that like you predict that correctly because I'd say 9 times out of 10 those planes hit those towers, they don't fall.
Right. Yeah. I think even Al Qaeda was kind of surprised.
They had to have been shocked because you're talking about the perfect storm of things. Like they hit it. It's probably like the perfect angle. There's no way they did that on purpose. Like
no. It's definitely a touchy one because it's one of those. It's like a Pearl Harbor moment, in the country. We don't get attacked here on our land very.
No, and I remember being terrified, man.
Yeah.
I remember, being at school and like all of a sudden everybody's parents were showing up to come get them.
Right.
And like they didn't really want to like we had to watch TV, but like nobody wanted, like the teachers or the adults didn't really want to talk about what was going on. Like they didn't want to.
Yeah, that would have been interesting at your age. How a teacher would handle that because it's definitely. There was video on TV that day of people flying out the windows, and.
But it was something that you had to experience.
Yeah,
like sure. In fact, we had one teacher because like it was still elementary school for me, but we would try to switch classes like between like 3 teachers, like to just kind of get in that routine. And like the second teacher I had that day was just like vehemently against talking about it or showing it to us, and I'm still kind of pissed about that because like that was one of those moments in history where everybody's like, "Where were you?" Right? And like everybody could tell you, like, where were you at, Corey?
I was actually sitting in the house with my wife. We had I remember we had a son that was he had just turned 1 the month before, and I kind of wondered what was I bringing a kid into, if something like that's going to happen. So, it was. I just remember I couldn't stop watching TV.
Right, and it was on every channel.
Yes,
which I cannot stress that enough. As a kid, then I just wanted to. When I got home, I wanted to get away from it. Like I wanted to watch cartoons, and I wanted to like be away from it. But like it was on Nickelodeon, it was on Cartoon Network, it was on MTV, it was on all the news stations. There was one channel that was not showing it, and that was the Family Channel.
Really?
Yeah, and they were showing the Brady Bunch movies. So that's what I ended up watching that night, like trying to get away from it. But I've never seen that happen in history ever, where every single channel, cable, network news, were all showing the exact same thing.
I think something too that like was crazy about the time, and people that didn't grow up during that don't realize it. I think most people thought the next day something was going to happen again. It was going to.
Yeah, like everybody was just waiting on the next thing, and to a degree, we're still there, right? Like we're
right.
Like if you flew on a plane before 9/11 and flew after, like exactly what I'm talking about. You used to just be able to breeze through the airport. Pre 9/11, you just roll on up. I mean, you go through like one metal detector and you're on the plane.
Right.
And then which it's become laxed now in the past like decade or so. But right after 9/11, like we took a trip at spring break of the following year. My God, like I mean, I remember them taking all of our luggage apart and going through it, which doesn't happen anymore. But
Right.
And then shortly after that, there's that whole shoe thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to start taking your shoes off.
Yeah. So it was a crazy time not to get off the conspiracy.
Yeah, but it's one of those things you got to talk about.
It's crazy to me that next year is 20 years since that happened.
I know, man. It literally feels like yesterday.
Yeah, it does, really.
And that wave of Toby Keith patriotism that followed.
It was kind of like, it did feel good, though, for a little while after. Like, everyone had a flag, it felt like, and
and
were nicer to each other. And
I like everybody was American for a minute.
Yeah, right.
And I remember like Canada flew our flag above theirs, like the day after. A lot of cool things happened after that. Unfortunately, thousands of couples, like 2,000 people or something, lost their lives.
Yeah. So, going along with that, though, lots of questions about Flight 93 that went down on the field in Pennsylvania. Whether or not it was taken down by heroic passengers or was it shot down? What do you say?
This is the part that I have really strong opinions on. I don't think there's any way those passengers took that plane down. I do think it was shot down by the U.S. government, but for the right reasons. Like I don't think killing any Americans like on American soil there's ever a good reason. But this could have been heading for the White House. This could have been heading for which is where it looked like it was going. But the loss of life could have been a lot greater. There were F-18s in the air with it. It just seems like if you look at the wreckage pictures, there's pretty much a hole in the ground. There's nothing left of this plane. There's no luggage. There's no people. There's a black hole in the ground. I understand if they did why they had to do it, but you can't tell the American people that you shot down a commercial flight with Americans on board. Although I do think that's what happened. And I think that story they came up with to say that these people knew what was going on and they took them down, and then like a movie came out like 2 years later. Yeah. It all just seemed very scripted.
I think what's interesting about that theory is that for everyone except the family members of the people on that plane
would understand.
Most Americans would be understanding of why they did it. But I get their kind of PR move to not say that. So
right. Well, I mean, there's a history of the government kind of doing that.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like oh well, you know what? Your husband was a hero. Like, which is pretty much what happened here. Maybe in years from now we'll actually find out what happened, but who knows? Maybe they did. Like that's a way cooler story if they did.
Yeah.
But it does not seem likely. Like it's highly unlikely they knew what was going on with because you're talking 2001. There was no internet on the airplane. Like there were phones, but
yeah, it's going back to what you were talking about, the crash site. I've never seen like a plane crash that looked like that.
No, there's no plane.
Right.
There's no pieces of a plane. There's no wing. There's no engine. Like there's something. There should have been luggage, seats, bodies everywhere. Yeah. There was none of that. It was obliterated from the sky.
Yeah. Tough topic.
That was tough, but that is the conspiracy theory with that I think has the most legs to stand on.
Yeah. So, talking about the government not disclosing everything, what about like the Illuminati and all that good stuff?
Dude, I was thinking about it because we talked about it. We're like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
I think the Illuminati was debunked in 2016 when Donald Trump won the election, because there's no way they would ever let that happen. So, I mean, honestly, with all jokes aside, like, I do think that debunks it. The Bilderbergs, all of that. And you'll notice, like, that's not even, like, really a topic anymore. It used to be, like, every election cycle, it'd be like, oh, the Bilderbergs are going to meet and decide who gets to be president.
Right, yeah.
And then Donald Trump became president, and they're like, we were way off, guys.
COVID and screwed the whole thing up. So.
Did you ever buy into the Illuminati thing?
Not really. I mean, I don't know. I think we overthink a lot of things.
I think some stuff is so messed up that you have to, like, equate some sort of wild thing to it to try to make sense of it. Like, it would make it so much better, like, if there was some evil corporation or group of people behind all this sort of puppeteering, and, like, not the fact that people in large groups just suck. Like, like, if we've been the victim this whole time and it wasn't, like, our bad choices that got us here, that's a much easier pill to swallow.
Right. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, Donald Trump probably did.
Yeah, he single-handedly debunked that. Like, Alex Jones was probably pissed because he ran out of content.
Right.
Speaking of which, since we're on conspiracy theories, did you ever watch Alex Jones in his heyday?
I bits and pieces. I never really, like, dove deep into him. But
dude, I remember, like, going back to 9/11. Like, do you remember when loose change was getting passed around on these DVRs, like, from friend to friend, right? And so, like, I'm pretty sure Alex Jones is in that. And then, like, I kind of got the Alex Jones bug after that.
Right.
And, like, Alex Jones used to be a pretty believable guy. Like, before he, like, started, like, the InfoWars, like, YouTube channel and shit. When he wasn't so wild. But he still had crazy... like, there was... we may have talked about this before, but he had a conspiracy that the stickers on your mailbox, which you know what they're for, you're in the paper business, right?
Yeah.
That denotes, if anybody doesn't know, that denotes what day of the week, how often, what paper you get. If you get the paper or if you don't.
Right.
That's how they know what to leave for you, when. Alex Jones had a conspiracy theory. This is how they knew who to put in FEMA camps. Depending on the color of the sticker in your mailbox is whether or not you were going to be put in a FEMA camp.
Well, we'll leave that at that. So. Anyway.
Yeah.
Alex Jones. He does
turning the freaking frogs gay.
He cracks me up on Rogan when he's on there. So.
Dude, I love that dude on Rogan. And, like, I see why Joe Rogan likes him.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm a little bit retarded. Like, those are the best words ever spoken on that podcast. He just got blitzed out of his mind. Tried to wrestle Eddie Bravo.
That wouldn't have went well for him.
No, it would not.
So, one of my favorite, I hate saying, like, one of my favorite things is war. Yeah. But I'm heavily interested in World War II and the Nazis. Many of those guys made their way to South America, Argentina, places like that. Do you think Hitler made it to Argentina?
Dude, I think it's possible. Like, that's another one of those things. It's such a big build-up to getting Hitler, and then, like, he killed himself in a bunker.
Right.
Like,
I don't think he's the type to kill himself.
I don't either. Like, it was just so anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Maybe he did, right? Like, he was this little angry person in Argentina for the rest of his life. I am positive he'd be dead by now. I don't know how old he was.
Yeah, he would be dead by now for sure.
Yeah. Which is weird. Like, they just brought some, like, 98-year-old man up on war crimes charges.
Yeah.
Which is wild to think that they're still peeling, like, Nazis out of South America.
Yeah.
I actually watched a really cool documentary about the Nazis of Argentina.
Really?
Like, there was enough of them that they've created a subculture among their descendants in a small pocket.
Yeah, there's a movie called I think it's Colonia or something like that. There was a whole community down there, started by I think it was Joseph Mengele, that the doctor from Auschwitz was kind of experimenting on South Americans down there too.
Well, I mean, you got to look at the leeway we gave some of those people.
Yeah.
Who was like the father of the modern rocket? Ran NASA for years. What is his name?
I mean, all our technology
is Nazi technology.
The Nazis, yeah.
But we gave that dude a pass. Like, I mean, the guy I'm thinking of, I can't think of his name. He would hang 2 Jews a day.
Yeah.
The slowest working ones to keep production up. Like, and that's a dude that we were like, come on over here and show us your secrets. We'll let you live out a long, fulfilling life.
Well, you know, if it benefits us.
Right? I mean, that's
for us. So, but no, I think it's highly plausible he made it to Argentina or South America somewhere. And there's a show, I don't know if you ever saw that Hunting Hitler show.
Hunting Hitler, yeah.
It's really good. That guy's on Rogan a lot too. That Tim something, I think.
I mean, you're talking about Hitler was a powerful, powerful man.
Yes.
With friends everywhere. It'd have been very easy to make him disappear.
And he knew the hammer was coming down. I mean, it wasn't quick drop into Berlin when the Allied forces got there. No. So he had plenty of time to get out. So
no, I think it's completely plausible. I prefer to think that he died a painful death.
Yeah, he probably died on the beach. So
yeah, probably without his little mustache. That's all he had to do too. Was just all of a sudden he walks straight out of Berlin. Just that, you know what that was? That was the ploy. Have something so recognizable that when you take it off, you blend into the crowd.
There you go. You just put on a tracksuit and they took him out. I got one here. I'm going to save like the big one for last because that's probably my favorite one. But you had the '85 Knicks, the frozen, frozen. What's the word I'm looking for? Frozen card or whatever.
The frozen ballot or whatever you want to call it. It was the first televised draft in NBA history. The New York Knicks are the #1 earning franchise in the entire NBA. They still suck, but they had sucked for years at that point. And Patrick Ewing was up to be drafted, and conveniently the Knicks are pulled from this big. They don't do it that way anymore. They use little ping pong balls or whatever now, and they pop up. But they would put these giant record-size envelopes. Have you seen the video, Corey? Yeah, giant record-size envelopes in this ball and turn them around. So the conspiracy is did David Stern rig it for the Knicks? Because that's what made the most financial sense, and it does. So was the corner bent? Because there's that question when he pulls it out, the corner's bent. Something for him to grab on, or did they? The big one is they think they may have frozen the card beforehand, so he could just reach in and fill the cold card and pull that one out.
Right. You know, David Stern was a pretty smart dude. I mean, he was probably the best commissioner in any of those leagues in that era. I wouldn't put it past him to try to do what needed to be done to make some money. So
I just had to check the score on the game. I'm glad I'm not watching it. But
so yeah, I think I need to help the Knicks a little more. So.
Yeah, dude. Like if they just gave the Knicks the next 4 #1 draft picks, I still think they would suck.
Probably, yeah.
I think the Knicks had like the lowest percentage to get that or something. I don't know how that worked.
It wasn't great. Here's a comment from my buddy Jake. There's a good doc on Netflix about the guy in Cleveland they claim was Ivan the Terrible. So I have not heard that.
Yeah, after all that, you end up in Cleveland.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah. You know what? They might just go, how long did you live in Cleveland? We're square, buddy.
So, yeah, so the Knicks, they still didn't win a championship, so joke's on David Stern if he cheated. So, and then my last one, unless you have some other ones, I've got the JFK assassination, and I put Martin Luther King too. I'll just say this about Martin Luther King. Even his family have doubts about James Earl Ray being the assassin. So, take that for what you want. But the JFK, to me, that's got to be the biggest conspiracy theory that's talked about.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Where are you? Do you stand on team Oswald was a patsy, or?
I do not believe that official story whatsoever. Like, anytime you're going to stand up there and tell me a bullet turned around, like, that's what they gave to the public.
Yeah.
And then just kind of went, prove me wrong.
Right.
Plus, I mean, like, all right, you're thinking, let's talk about, they catch Oswald, like, immediately, which is amazing in and of itself. They catch him immediately. And he's immediately assassinated by Jack Ruby before he can be questioned.
Yeah.
So you have the most wanted man in America, and you just let him get killed by Jack Ruby.
Right.
Something doesn't add up.
No, it was and I get the fact that security wasn't what it was then that it is now, but to just let a guy with a gun come in the garage where they're going to walk him through, it's ridiculous. But there's so many like little intricate little details about that whole thing. Like, I don't know if you've seen there's a famous picture of like the police had these three hobos, or they call them the three tramps. There's like a famous picture of these guys that I think they found them on a rail car, but they're kind of too well dressed to be like really be hobos. And like one has like looks a lot like Woody Harrelson's dad, who was a kind of an assassin of his own back in that era.
Yeah.
There's just a lot to it, and it's really hard to determine who could have been involved. Yeah, Jack Ruby has mob ties. He was heavily into the mob for sure.
So did the Kennedys.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know, man. And then there's the whole thing that like LBJ and the government had him killed, which is plausible. Like, that makes sense.
It could have been the Russians. It could have been.
That's the thing, though. Like, I think the outside like sources, like you said, like the Russians or Castro or whoever, those are probably the least likely, right?
Right.
Like, the most likely come from internally. There's I don't know. Have you seen The Irishman yet?
No, I haven't.
It hints very heavily that the mob had JFK killed because there were some things he was supposed to do for them that he never did.
Right.
It's wild, man. I mean, as somebody who's like, been around firearms, like, for Lee Harvey Oswald to get that many rounds off with a bolt action rifle at that accuracy, I don't care if he wasn't, military trained guy. Like, it's just, that's not going to happen most times.
Yeah, it's crazy to think through. His wife is remarried, but she still lives in that Dallas area.
Yeah, that's wild.
I would want to live as far away from that area as I could if I was her. But
my dad said that was another one of those like 9/11 kind of moments where the whole world just stopped for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I can't imagine like the people. I know there was like, I've watched some of those interviews with the people that were standing there as he passed by, and like there's like a guy with his wife and kid, I think, that were right there when that final shot happened. That's just something that probably played in his mind every day.
Oh yeah, that actual, like, the whole clip of that is like extremely hard to watch.
It is, yes.
And like I said, they play it out. Which actually, and you know what? I want to point this out. That movie JFK by Oliver Stone. That's not a good source of info for any of this, like factually, and it's
Right.
passed off as like very factual. It's not.
Right.
This is Oliver Stone.
Jim Garrison was kind of all over the place in his theories on that case. So. But there are a lot of guys out there that kind of study that JFK case and, do it in a way that they're really searching for the facts. And
well, that magic bullet theory is the most asinine thing about that entire report.
Yeah.
I mean, your average person can tell you that doesn't happen.
Yeah. I think that recently, too, they found, I think it wasn't too long ago, they actually found the, like a motorcycle's radio transmission that picked up 4 shots. Like the audio of 4 shots. So, like his
what is it?
Open.
And they never did find like the babushka lady who was standing by the grassy knoll. Like, how weird is that?
All that stuff is weird. Like, there's that guy that's got the umbrella.
Yeah.
And there's just weird people down there. It's kind of strange. There's like, you can really like warp your mind watching some of this stuff too, because there's like, I think I know it's a bullshit theory, but there's like a theory that the driver of the car turned around and shot him.
Yeah, that is a bullshit theory.
But
like,
you can watch that video and like in your mind make it look like he does turn around and shoot him.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
But also, like, wouldn't Jackie Kennedy have said something about that?
Right.
Like, by now,
right.
Like,
yeah.
Or like anybody standing on the street. Like,
yeah. The driver shot him.
Yeah. They're like, shut up, lady.
We'll shoot the babushka off your head.
Maybe that's what happened to the babushka lady.
Maybe that's another thing, though, that's weird. It's like all those witnesses that did die weird deaths afterwards.
Yeah.
So.
Which happens in a lot of these conspiracies, by the way.
Yes. Yes.
Witnesses just kind of start dying off.
That's definitely the one I think that's probably got the most coverage of anything. I mean, you could say aliens. But
yeah, but I mean, as far as like one thing that like has been dissected so heavily over the past
one of for sure. Yeah. But were there any others you wanted to bring up that we haven't talked
to think of? Well, we kind of talked about Bohemian Grove because we talked about the Illuminati.
I do want to say that if you do go back and watch, a lot of the Unsolved Mysteries do touch on some of these. There's a really good one about the Martin Luther King death, and James Earl Ray, the man that was convicted of killing him, told a story about a guy named Raul that kind of had him going all over the country doing things, and actually had him buy the gun that killed Martin Luther King.
Yeah, I would say at the very least that dude wasn't alone in what was going on there.
Oh no. So, but that's a really good episode of Unsolved Mysteries, and there's more for sure.
We almost did an entire episode on conspiracy theories. Is that talking about the hottest conspiracy theory in the world right now?
What's that?
Did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself?
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, he didn't.
No, nobody thinks he did.
No.
It's like, I'm sorry.
We can all get behind.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, the guards were asleep and the cameras went out and then he's dead? Sure thing, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
I saw the thing where it's like that Jocelyn Maxwell or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, cause she's gonna suicide any day now. They were like, if we can live stream that giraffe that's trying to give birth for 3 days at the zoo, why can't we get a live stream of herself?
Yeah. I'm kind of shocked she's still alive, honestly.
Yeah, me too. I mean, she's probably already dead, and like they're just waiting to tell us about it.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, they totally killed that guy.
Yeah.
I don't even know who they is, but they did it.
Well, you saw that police officer that was a cellmate, right? That guy was like
Yes, the Hulk.
Yeah, if that guy wasn't able to kill him, there's something wrong.
Yeah, he totally snapped. And they're like, and the wounds that he suffered were consistent with strangulation, not hanging. Like that dude's got cigarettes and Twinkies in his commissary for the rest of his life.
Yeah. And he's getting Marlboros.
Yeah, he's getting the good stuff, man. Yeah.
Real Hostess Twinkies too, not the Great Value.
Yeah, he also gets whatever choice of ramen he wants. It's the cheapest assassination in history.
Yeah.
That's not even a conspiracy theory at this point.
No, it's nearly fact. So
yeah, I'd say a conspiracy would be somebody arguing that he did kill himself.
Yeah. So conspiracy theories. That was a fun discussion on some of the favorites. If you guys have some favorites, you can leave a comment. We'll get back with you on this YouTube video. And if you're watching this or listening to this on the podcast later, hit us up on Instagram or go to our YouTube channel, leave a comment on the video, and talk about some of your favorites. So
I want to propose something to you.
Yeah.
I enjoy talking about stuff like this, and I know you too. And we both love unsolved mysteries. So why not at the end of each episode, why don't we pick the week prior, let's pick an unsolved mysteries episode and break it down at the end. What do you think?
We can do that. Sounds good.
Excuse to watch unsolved mysteries.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know where I could find them. If only there was a channel that played nothing but unsolved mysteries.
Yeah, just look around. Maybe there will be one. So
yeah.
Yes, guys, you can see those on Pluto TV. They're on Peacock now, I think, too, and
Amazon Prime.
Is it on Amazon Prime? Okay, yeah, I
saw a pregnancy test showing them the other day.
They play them over in the bathroom at Walmart.
Yeah, it's only like $1.95 for the licensing fee on Unsolved Mysteries.
Apparently. So yeah, guys, I think this Saturday we're gonna do another commentary.
Yeah, what are we doing this week?
I think we'll do Night of the Living Dead.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
We're into fall now. It's actually just turned fall, and it's getting that time of year, folks. So,
speaking of Night of the Living Dead, I do have one gripe about it. I hate that it's in every movie as the movie that people are watching, before the shit goes down.
You know why? Because it's public
domain. Yeah, but it's also the most recognizable thing you can put in.
Sure.
I was watching one of those shitty Dollar Tree movies called Cabin 28.
Yeah.
And that's what they were watching.
Of course. They should have watched House on Haunted Hill.
But it's always got to be that, they're coming to get you, Barbara.
Yeah.
It's always that scene. They always just started the movie.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll be seeing that scene too. And hopefully we can get Monty on. I'm not sure what his schedule is, but we'll try to get him back with us. And I'll actually throw it out to Tony too, Friday the 14th, and see if he wants to pop on. So Monty and Tony together might be an interesting.
It might be, yeah.
Combination. So
I have fun with those, man. Those are fun. I wish YouTube wasn't such a dick about it. We could just do stuff that wasn't public domain.
Yeah.
Because honestly, who's looking for the S'mores Indoors edition of whatever movie you're talking about? That's not going to make money.
Oh. But guys, it's been a fun show talking about conspiracies. We'll have some more topics like this. We're going to do some other stuff other than
I'm good.
we're gonna have some other topics in the future. Like we said, we'll do some unsolved mystery stuff like that. So, guys, it's been a great show. Hope you enjoyed. Jonathan, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me at Bombastic Reviews here on YouTube, Bombastic Reviews on Facebook, and as always, the Smores Indoors Podcast.com.
If you can find us, find me at Smores Indoors 76 on Instagram and Smores Indoors Podcast here on YouTube and on Facebook. And of course, always go to the Smores Indoors Podcast.com website for the latest episodes. And hopefully, we'll get some more stuff added to that soon. We got some out and abouts coming up soon. So we'll try to get some pictures and stuff up there. So, guys, thanks for checking the show out. Until next time, take it easy.
Later.